How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? Last year I started to write a book about the decline of the UK and what might be called the state of the Union. That state, of course, is ghastly. In my opinion, and I'm not the only one, the UK has sunk so low I don't think it can ever recover. It is bankrupt, but of course that's not unusual or new. But it appears to be governed by a bunch of half-wits. Decisions have been made and continue to be made which simply takes the country further and further into the abyss. I am aware there is a proto-party in the wings called Reform. Well, the title of my book about the current political mess in the UK is not meant to be about that new party, despite its title. But it's about the word itself. Either there is a radical reform, and that reform happens very, very quickly, or there will be no way the country can climb out of the hole the current government has backed it into. I can, and indeed will, publish this book on Amazon. I am currently doing edits and a few rewrites, but hope to be finished within a month or so. Meanwhile, I intend to publish here on a weekly basis the chapters as they come in the book. I welcome feedback. In fact, I would be very disappointed if there is no feedback. This work is not a blueprint for future success. It is not meant as a route map, but simply a small attempt to add my thoughts to what I consider to be a rather important issue facing a once great country which has fallen so low as to be unrecognisable. Ladies and gentlemen, Chapter 1 is rather short and brutal. Indeed, it's meant to be. Okay, here we go. Reform or Ruin. Chapter 1 is called Why Did You Vote at the Last Election? Well, how did you vote at the last UK election? Presumably you voted for your representative to support a few things you wanted government to get on with. Several years later, simple question, are you a happy bunny? Let's have a check on the things that were supposed to get done and find out what kind of success rate the government can chalk up. I believe the majority of people voted for the following. Now, maybe that wasn't you, but it was the majority. 1. Bring back control of the UK to representatives in the UK rather than in a foreign country. How did that one do? So far, no signs several years later of any significant move on that front. In fact, far from any success, it seems as though Westminster has actually lost control of one of its provinces. Has our one and only gunboat unfortunately sunk? 2. Support the UK fishing industry. How's that getting on? 3. Get control of the country's borders. Actually, it looks as if we've lost one, and the other borders are about as strong as a fence of spider webs. Ouch, that's a seriously sore point. Your tax money is going to support illegal immigrants in hotels. Was that part of a manifesto? Is that really what you voted for? I thought the UK had a rather good armed force. Can't they even protect the country's own borders from unarmed guys in rowing boats? It must be embarrassing to be in the British Armed Forces these days. There is another question that needs to be asked here. Why have you voted for a party that wants to look after foreigners? Sounds like a weird form of political ideology to me. Hold on, this gets even more strange. The current mob in charge, let's leave aside for a moment whether they really are in charge of anything, has spent and is still spending outrageous sums of money supposedly to support a corrupt government on the other side of the continent. Is that something you've voted for? Is that what you work overtime week after week for and pay taxes for? And perhaps I should also ask how those billions are being spent. Are they producing anything tangible for the UK electorate? Where have we got to? Number 4. How is the current government managing the economy? Going well, is it? 5. Inflation. I assume that's all under control now? Or is that a total screwball as well? 6. No doubt you're pleased with the way the government is looking after your interests in a general way. Secured plenty of agricultural products going into the winter season, has it? Sorted out the energy requirements? Well, that's number 7, isn't it? Energy requirements. All going swimmingly, I suppose. Plenty of heat, plenty of power available, and plenty there to keep the wheels of industry turning most industriously. I suppose it is also in order to ask a general question such as number 8. Lost my place in the text. Are we all better off than we were at the time of the last general election? And 9. Are we more confident about the future now than we were back then? I don't know about you, but my satisfaction level not very high. For now, I will simply ask several questions based upon the general state of the country and the progress or lack of it in the ability of the government to deliver on the election promises. Okay, here is the chart showing questions and ratings out of a possible 10 points. There are 10 categories, so the total out of 100 possible points shows how well the government is achieving what it claimed to set out to do. Bring back control to Westminster from Brussels. I'm going to give that 2 out of 10. Something's been done, but I mean, heck, as I say, we do seem to have lost a province, so maybe it ought to be -2. Support for UK fishing industry? Well, there were a few initial noises, so we'll give that a 1. Control of the country's borders? 0. The army's effectiveness? 0. Benefit from tax money wasted supporting foreigners? I think that ought to be a minus, but I've put it down as 0. General benefits from foreign policy? Not doing very well here. That has to be another 0. Managing the economy? Double figures inflation, eh? Yes, we've got inflation here as well. Those ought to be minuses, really. Managing the country's energy requirements? Well, that didn't go very well either. General feel-good quotient? This is seriously bad, isn't it? The whole lot ought to end up as a total minus figure. I think the above list of achievements, or lack of achievements, is so bad as to be described as way, way below appalling. I would have thought that a figure lower than 45 would demand a new government, but single figures? What have I got here? 3. I would say that amounts to treason. This book is not off to a good start, is it? Tune in again next week to see if things start to improve. but I'm not exactly hopeful. Thank you for listening.